It's now time. The Boomtown Pod, your home for all combat sports. Covering the latest news, information, and so much more in the world of combat sports. From boxing to mixed martial arts and professional wrestling, we've got you covered. Time now to go live, the Boomtown Pod, and it starts now.
Sure does. Oh, we are back, baby. We have missed you guys so much. It's absolutely unbelievable. This is season 6 of the Boomtown Pod, your home for all things MMA. And of course, I am your host, Andrew Kahn, and I am joined this season primarily in the studio, which is amazing, with my guy, Cole Sandman Smith. Cole, this feels good. This feels right.
Yeah, it's good to actually be in the same room and not be over a webcam that hit or miss legs. So it's nice.
Where we're balancing our lives on shitty quality Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But of course, you guys might see we are together in the same building. That is because I have located myself to Saskatoon, the home of this man right here. We have taken a bit of a break. A couple people asking why we took such a long break. Well, I'm here to tell you the reason why we took such a long break is because I'm actually gearing up for fatherhood, which is in its own the wildest thing I've ever experienced. Like, you know more than I do. It's fucking crazy.
It's just an everyday learning experience.
It's like,
so how you feel now? That's what it is.
all right, cool. Gets better than this. Right on. How we're feeling is never going to stop. But no, it's been a whirlwind. So yeah, we're out in Saskatoon now. Moved out here a month ago, almost. Yeah, a month and a half ago. Love it. We love the community. It's been great to us. We're really, really excited. But that means that we also have a brand new home. As you can see in the background, we have this amazing new venue. We are at Sandstar Graphics here in Saskatoon. And, of course, it's pretty cool because this is a family-owned and operated business. He just happens to be part of the Métis family that runs this amazing event or this amazing place. Cole, kind of describe to us, like, what goes on here on a daily basis.
Yeah, so we're just on 34th Street, Saskatoon, and we screen print, we embroider, we do signage, we do graphic design, and then we put it on clothing, we put it on signs, we put it on banners. So really anything you need, we're kind of that one-stop shop. Hats, everything. Everything, you can come here, come to us, and we'll get it done. Even vehicle wraps, decals, stickers, we just handle it all. So
can you fix a front bumper? Because currently mine might have a hole in it.
No
promises. Okay, cool. Not SGI certified. Okay.
Just throw a sticker over it.
Yeah. Just smear it with black tape. This is good enough. No, but anyways, yeah, it's super cool that we get to be able to do this with you guys in person. This is so cool. This season for us is going to be so different from the other seasons that we've done. We were talking about it actually before we went live tonight. For us, the biggest thing is just having that. You watch your podcast and your favorite podcast, and you always are like, those guys are kind of funny. And I think we're pretty funny guys on any given basis. But, like, truly, we just haven't been able to showcase that because we've always been about the business. So serious about what we're talking about. We really kind of get lost in our everyday lives, and we don't talk about it much. But our lives are fucking pretty funny. We're pretty good guys. We've gone through a lot in the 16 years that we've been friends. But, yeah, this season is more about giving back to who we want to cater to. So it's the fighters that we want to have on here. It's bringing in coaches. It's bringing in boxers. It's bringing in combat guys. It's bringing in UFC fighters, karate combat. I mean, we got Sam Alvey coming up live with us in a couple of minutes' time here, and it's just that's what we want to do. We want to be a home of something different because you have your generic, and I'm not saying generic in a bad way, but you have your Ariel Helwanis. You've already got the Brendan Schaubs of the world. Let them do what they do, and they do it greatly. We just want to have more fun with it. So we're hoping this season we can bring a lot of guests, and I know that that's something you're really looking forward to.
Yeah, especially locally, because there is a lot happening locally in Saskatchewan, Alberta, BC, Canada as a whole, that it'd be nice to shine some light on some of our local athletes that are doing some cool things. We've done, even with Sandman Boxing, it's pretty cool to be out in BKFC, in these bigger platforms, getting guys out there, and a lot of people just don't know what's going on in Saskatchewan. It's such a you know, for such a big place, there's not many people here, so it doesn't
So
get talked
true.
about
So
very
true.
much. And even with amateur boxing and pro boxing, we just had a handful of athletes who qualified in nationals, medaled, and it just doesn't get talked about enough. And so we'd like to shine some light on our own athletes right here at home. So
I think that's such a cool thing to talk about. And we also talked about it earlier too, like even back in the podcast a few months ago. Can't believe we've been gone for a few months, but we talked about sanctions and getting that kind of stuff going through here in Saskatchewan and getting gyms more involved, not even just your guys' gym, but more gyms all around Saskatchewan because there's so much talent to showcase. I think it's a miss that we're not, capitalizing on that.
yeah, it's tough too with the sanctions. They're kind of weird here in Saskatchewan.
Really weird,
So
really weird.
I think that needs to get fixed first. And I'm not really sure how to go about that, but I know that there is a couple gyms that are kind of have been getting together and chatting on how to fix some of those things, because it's weird that especially in the MMA and kickboxing, uh, that there is no amateur allowed here, but there's pro allowed here. So people who want to get better while they're training, they have to travel so far, and it just doesn't make any sense. Uh, it'd be nice to be able to throw events here, so as you're training, as you're learning, you can practice and have these amateur fights so that you can build on your skills, see what works, see what doesn't. And the fact that we have to travel so far to be able to do that is super unfortunate.
It's mind-boggling, and I know that we talked about it. And I remember the last time that the UFC was supposed to run through Saskatoon. I think that and obviously that was COVID related, but it changes things for commissions too, right? Like you got your commissions, you got your people that judges, your score panels, all that other stuff. So running pro competitions, I get, is super hard. But there's such an amateur market out here, and I know you just had a couple ladies perform this weekend that were in the amateur levels, and to showcase that in Saskatchewan, we got to get to it. Like, there's
Yeah.
just something that's got to happen.
And really, just boxing, like boxing is fine.
Absolutely.
Amateur boxing is allowed here. It's the other combat sports that are having big issues.
And we know a lot of coaches and guys that do the other side of it, the MMA world. And we had Corey Chambers on here from Green Dojo before, and he talked about how hard it is to even get anybody to come on board. He's talked to other, and especially in gyms. Listen, every gym's a rival, right? You're building your fighter to be the better fighter than their gym. But when it comes to the sanctions and stuff like that, it's like, how do we get everybody on the same even keel so that we can like have these events? Because Saskatchewan's missing an incredibly large market. Like, whether we want to face it or not, you talk to your friend down the street, everybody knows everybody about MMA. Like, we could have something immediately. And having, worked in with Palace Athena's, having the pro division and having even pro am and having the amateur events as well, it's just like, man, there's so much talent, and we're missing it. And I feel for us as people in Saskatchewan primarily, because you can go to the Calgarys, you can go to the Edmontons, you can go to the Torontos, where it's all good to go. But for some reason, we just can't figure it out in this province.
Mm-hmm.
Frustrating. It's frustrating beyond belief. But you had, like I said, I want to get into this a little bit before Sam joins us, but you had two fighters this past weekend that you helped coach and in their corner. Of course, everybody knows Sam and Boxing System. That's my guy over here, working out at Alliance as well. You had two girls that fought this weekend. How was it? Fill us in.
Yeah, it was awesome. One of them was my girl, Cass Houdon.
Yeah.
She's awesome. It was her very first fight, and she won, and she looked really good. Like the first fight's always kind of a write off. You don't know about anxiety, about how much that's gonna drain you, and a lot of times people go do their first fight and they just 30 seconds in they're gassed because of how anxious they were beforehand, and then it's just a write off. And it kind of takes a couple fights to get kind of used to that feeling. But she went in there and she just pushed the pace for 3 rounds, and it was amazing. And then the other girl I was coaching was actually She's from Alliance Boxing.
Okay, sweet.
And her coach is just in Scotland right now visiting family. So I stepped in and helped coach and cornered her, and she did amazing as well. She like dominated every round, made it look really easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good. It was a good weekend.
Yeah, that's a really successful
And
weekend.
Saskatchewan boxers went 7 of them fought, and we went 7-0 last weekend against Alberta.
Damn.
So
7-0.
yeah, it was wicked.
Haha, Alberta. See? This is what I'm talking about. We need this little rivalry. Alberta and P are looking at me right now or watching this and be like, Saskatchewan filth, you know? But no, nonetheless, that's awesome. I mean, I know like I've been obviously following your guys' Cass's adventure, which has been pretty cool to see. From somebody who's completely green to fighting on an amateur card and winning in her debut. That's shout out Cass. That's pretty impressive. No easy feat, especially with boxing. It is such a mental war game, and she trains it. And we clearly see it every day how much she works out with you, how dedicated she is to her craft and getting that much better, which is amazing to see. So shout out to her, and again, shout out Vicky as well. We know how much of an amazing coach she is, and getting to spend time with her and meet her out throughout the years. She's fierce. She's that Scottish competitor, but she's awesome. She's a great coach too. So good weekend all around for you. Just got an update. Sam Alvey's going to be joining us in about 5 minutes time. It's so cool that again he's going to hop on. We're going to talk about family and all that other cool stuff. For those that don't know this is a cool fact about Sam Alvey. He actually married one of the women from America's Next Top Model. He did well for himself. He did well for him. I love Sam. He's a great guy, but he'll tell you he's a very family first guy, which I absolutely love. And that's kind of one of the things that we want to be more of this year is having the ability to talk to guys about just like we get their fighters. They've been asked those questions a million times. It's like let's get to know who Sam Alvey is because he's Sam Alvey. Don't forget, like we're going to talk about his transition, and Cole and I were talking about this before, from going to an MMA guy to a karate guy, and having to deal with all those kind of differentials. But we're going to talk to him about all that kind of stuff. But this is the second time he's come on, and we're not going to pump our own tires. But wait till you get on because we got a really cool stat for you for when he jumps in with us, and I'm again super excited for that. If you actually are watching right now and you are an MMA fighter, a boxing fighter, if you are literally a coach, trainer, you name it, hit us up. Like we wanna interview you, have you down at the studio. We want to sit you right here and just shoot the shit, shoot the breeze. That's what this is about this season. We want to really get to know our community because we talk so much about the UFC. We talk so much about PFL and the Jake Pauls and the boxing things of the world, where it's like we kind of lose sight about what we're trying to do a little bit in the last season. I think that's kind of why I also paused it because I was like, hey, we sound generic and I hate that. So we're going to get back to what we've wanted to do since day one when we talked about this. It's cool to have different guests come on. And, even in that first season, even though it was COVID, having you come on, having, Daryl Ralph from, one of the cool bands, Bounds Amera, he came on. And just like Reggie Hunt, 3-time CFL All-Star, just coming on to the podcast and just shooting the breeze about their favorite fighters and what they're up to now. So that's something that we're really, really looking forward to. But yeah, hit us up. Like I've talked to numerous people since moving to Saskatoon in the community about, potentials of people coming in here. We might have a dogfight out here. Some Michael Vick stuff happening outside. Don't cancel us. We're just coming back. But are they okay? All right, we're hoping they're okay. All right, that was weird. Nonetheless, this is the cool stuff about being live in a new studio too. You really don't know what you're gonna see and or gonna hear. And there was some dogs losing their mind there, but I know for you, and I know I can personally say this too. You're very dedicated about having those kind of people come on. So like, who are some of the faces that you would love to see? Let's just throw some names out there.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much. For the coaches, for one, there's a lot of coaches here who have, who are pretty well known in the community. They've competed, they've done lots of things, and then there's guys who kind of just coach and they keep quiet and they just kind of do their thing. And there's just a lot of talent here that I really want to, do what we can to chat with them, hang out with them, and it's growing. In Saskatoon, there's probably 10-15 gyms, boxing, MMA, kickboxing, North Battleford has 3 now.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Stuart Fontaine,
Yep,
Corey
yeah.
Chambers. Then there's Dylan has 4 Corner Boxing.
Yep.
So there's like a lot of things. PA, Lloyd, Regina. So if we can get these guys out here and just pick their brains and give them a platform to just kind of share what they're doing, why they're doing it.
100%.
It'd be super fun, and athletes too. We would love to have my guy Nash Diedrichs on here.
Yes.
Just coming off a first round knockout in BKFC. Huge. Violent. Crazy sport. But so cool, and how many people even know that that's going on, that we have pro athletes that are out in the States doing their thing. So yeah, a lot of big talent here in Saskatoon. That would be awesome to just get them on here and
slide into our DMs.
Yeah, but you have to be cool.
Yeah, we're not thirst trapping you. We're just
you have to be cool.
yeah. Let's regard this.
If you're not cool, don't even bother.
If you want to like actually talk and you can talk and you're not punch drunk, we'd love to have you on there. But I know it sounds crazy to say that out loud because there's so many guys. Like it'd be like us having the interview or chance to interview like Nate Diaz. Like we know how that's gonna go. Not good for us. Yeah, it's not gonna be good for us. But I love Nate. That's not a shot at him. It's just if you're not as good as if you're better than Nate Diaz at speaking publicly, come on over anytime.
Just be cool.
Just be cool.
Just
but
be cool.
Yeah, like, and this is how small this community is. I moved here a month ago. I needed my hair cut. This is what I'm saying. Like, this is how small this community is. I need to get my hair done, and I got it done at Bourbon Barbershop. Shout out Bourbon Barbershop. Amazing people, good place. We're not sponsored by any stretch of the imagination by them. But I went over there, and this girl named Paige just starts cutting my hair, and she's like, yeah, my boyfriend's an MMA fighter. I'm like, conveniently enough, I talk about MMA fighters. And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah. No, I do a podcast called the Boomtown Pod. And she goes, huh, do you know a guy named Cole? And I said, my co-host? And she goes, yep, that's him. I was like, yeah, okay, sweet. So this is how small that, and this is a great point that you just brought up. The community is so small that, one barber shop I walked into was already talking to me about, MMA, which is awesome. It's such a huge field, and it's. I feel like this year we're gonna you're gonna see us live a lot. Like this year is gonna be giving back to our people, watching our people. This is something that we've been talking about doing. We wanted to do it last year. We kind of, again, with the arrival of, baby on the way and Royce, just developing and growing up and running your stuff too. It was a whirlwind. And truthfully, that's why we took the last few months off. It's not that I didn't want to do this. I love doing this. But at the same time, it was like, all right, let's refocus on what we wanted to do. Let's get back to the roots of what has made us and wanted to do this. And I think we're going to have so much fun this year. So make sure you guys are subscribing to our YouTube page. I'm going to do a lot of stuff on YouTube this year. I think that's going to be our biggest push. I love doing the Facebook Lives with you guys. Thank you for those that are already tuning in, giving us some love and likes. But truthfully, YouTube is just where we're missing a lot. And I think it's going to be so fun to even do pre-recorded interviews with a lot of, fighters that we can drop on the daily and have that audio released to you guys as well, which is going to be, huge. I mean, we've missed the boat there. And I'm the first one to hold accountability there. I always thought like, cool, everybody wants to watch Facebook Live. Let's just keep it there. Mm-hmm. That's like narrowing yourself to the smallest window, and I hate that.
And I second that Andrew's fault, because I never take accountability for anything. So
how did I know this was
coming?
You. Oh, well, while we sit here and mourn my my pride, no, I'm the first one to admit it. Like, there's just such a huge market that, again, I think we're missing, and to step up and be able to do this stuff is going to be so cool. Again, we are live. This is the first time we've been live in a long time. This is what we've been waiting for. We are so excited for this, guys. We have a guy, and I didn't want to say this earlier because I didn't want to jinx anything because it's been amazing. But since this man has jumped on the podcast, he is 3-0, and he is your current Karate Combat champion of the world, Smilin, Sam Alvey. Sam, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm feeling wonderful. How are you, my friend?
As far as introductions go, that's the best one I'm going to give for a while. That's just a selfless promotional bump that we had to give you. It's funny because Sam will tell you, I will inbox him every time he wins a fight and goes, yeah, perfect since you've been on the pod.
Hey, undefeated since I've been on the podcast.
And we're here for it, my man. We are absolutely here for it. Dude, how have you been? How is life?
Life is good, busy as ever. I got 6 kids. I forgot I had a band performance I had to do with the kids here in a little bit, so I hit you up earlier if we could go a few minutes early.
Yeah.
It just constantly something's happening, and I couldn't be happier.
Well, we love that for you, man, because we know that times weren't always as easy as they have been now. I mean, obviously we remember, and I'm not going to bring it up because that's bad juju. We ain't doing that. But obviously you went through the the ringer there for a little while, and now you're back. You're beating some high ranked opponents, and it's good to see. What's changed for you mentally, Sam, in the last little while, man?
I don't know. I've just been able to perform more. I think I blame the pit. I don't have to worry about the wrestling. I don't have to worry about the jiu-jitsu. I just get to go out and beat someone up. And it is the greatest feeling in the world.
Yeah, it's funny you brought that up because we were talking about this before you came on. I said, it's so funny to watch him fight from an octagon to a pit.
Uh-huh. I wait for the pit. Wait for the pit.
What is it like being in the pit?
It's a concept. Think of it as if there's a ring of fire around you. You're fighting into the ring. You can't touch the fire. That pit is a death sentence. If you go on it, you lose. And it is incredible how true that statement is. As soon as you fall in that pit, you can't defend yourself. There's no jujitsu. You can only hope they don't hit you enough before you can clinch onto them.
Yeah, and Cole and I were talking. Fire out a question about it because we kind of were talking about how the differential between MMA and karate is. But yeah, fire it up, Cole.
Yeah, how does it feel going up against Lyoto Machida essentially every match with that karate style, that bouncing style? What is that like?
They're so much faster. It's a lot of fun to watch them fight and to be in there with them. I've always been a slower style. I've always been a slow, creeping kind of a fight guy. And to go in there with these fast, bouncy, in, out, kick high, kick low kind of guys, it's been so much fun. It's like a video game.
And so I was going to ask you that too. How do you do with the travel? Because you're going a long way.
You mean to fight?
To fight, yeah.
I'm not going that far. My last fight was in Nashville. It's like 30 minutes from me.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was farther away. I was reading something completely wrong then.
No, I have traveled for him. So I fought in Mexico. I have fought in the
that's
Dominican
what I was
Republic.
thinking, yeah.
I fought in Las Vegas. But compared to where the UFC's flown me, that Mexico's nowhere. It's like a 3-hour flight.
Yeah, you're like, oh, it's 30 minutes down the road. Cool. Well,
Yeah.
I'll do all the weight cut at home, and I will go home afterwards with my championship and celebrate with my 6 kids.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what happened.
That's awesome, man. No, and I know we talked about it a little bit last time on the podcast, but it's been so good to see the resurgence in your game. Where do you see yourself thriving right now? Like, where has the biggest turnaround been for you in your martial arts game?
My strength. I'm out of the UFC. I have finally been lifting constantly. I'm at the gym an hour and a half every morning before I go to MMA, jiu-jitsu, sparring, training. Before I go to that, I lift constantly. In the UFC, I was always scared to lift. I was scared to get hurt. I was fighting for UFC money. I had to be ready on a moment's notice. Now I know I'm not fighting on a moment's notice for the most part. I roughly know I'm going to fight 2, maybe 3 times a year. I can lift as much as my heart desires, and that's a lot.
And you look healthy. Like, and I mean that in a good sense. Like, I mean, you look strong. You look healthy, especially in your last fights against Arroyo. You look like a much healthier version of you.
Yeah, I'm a true 205er now. I'd fought 205 in the UFC, but because I couldn't lift like I wanted to, I was a smaller 205. I'd walk around 225 and cut. It's an easy cut. Now I'm walking around 245, cutting down to 205, and I feel good doing it. My body fat is about the same, and by the fight day, my body fat is lower than it's ever been before, and I feel really, really intimidating because of it.
A dangerous smile, Sam Alvey scares the shit out of me. I ain't gonna lie.
Do you feel like because there's been some rule changes, hey, in karate combat?
Yeah, karate combat is great. Like if they want a rule change, they put it up for vote. They let every karate token holder vote on it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
the
anything could change any given moment.
Yep, 100%.
because your first couple fights there was no ground and pound, and then they
There
just
was,
recently
but only
started.
for 5 seconds. You had
Oh,
five
okay.
seconds to
Whoa.
beat him up.
Yeah.
How do you even count that as a fighter in your head? You're like, I think I landed 4 punches. That's got to be 5 seconds.
Well, they've got an alarm that goes off that counts down. So as soon as it hits the ground, they hit the alarm button. It goes boom, boom, boom. So you feel it. It increased the intensity of how fast and how much I needed to hit him.
This pit sounds like a mosh pit. Increase the intensity. We love it. No, it's and I was gonna say too, being more present. You feel more present at home now too with this.
Yeah, I consider myself the face of the organization. I don't know if it's true, but I consider. I think I'm the biggest name, the biggest champion. I'm hands down the most social media savvy on the roster, and
Yeah.
I think I bring more. Actually, if you look at the numbers, I do bring more eyes to Karate Combat than any other fighter on their roster. So I've had a blast fighting for them. I'm really admiring the way they run it, and I'm trying to give back as much as I can. I'm trying to make it as big of an organization as I possibly can.
I'm glad you brought that out there because that we're gonna say no shot to anybody that's on the Karate Combat roster. We were talking about this beforehand, but we were like, we're going through the list of names on there, and I'm like, Sam has to be the biggest name on the draw. Like they're no matter what, and now we're seeing the likes of the Luke Rockholds that are now on the radar for Karate Combat. Does a little matchup, Smilin Sam and Luke Rockhold, kind
Oh,
of get you going?
he won't sign the contract. He is a pretty boy fighting to make money against guys he should beat. He's fighting smaller guys. He's like Jake Paul of MMA right now. He's just taking fights he's supposed to win. He won't sign the contract.
Has your camp pushed that fight?
If you listen to my post fight speech, my last victory is I
You
want
did actually.
Rockhold.
That's right.
Yeah, who I said Rockhold or who's that? Who's that guy? Romanian guy who's in the Romanian prison. Who's a real jackass. He used to be a kickboxer. Tate, Andrew Tate.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah,
that
yeah.
that. Oop, just there he is.
Keep going. We lost you at Romanian
Oop, I
jackass,
can't
Andrew
hear you.
Tate.
I lost. Sorry, I had an alarm set to remind me to come on, and it went off, and that's why I went black for a second. How do I hear? You're in the show. Everyone can hear and see you. Y'all can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, I cannot hear you.
Can't hear us?
I tell you what, I'll log off and then log back in.
Okay, sounds good. We'll bring you right back on. All right. Well, that's Smiling Sam Alvey. He'll be back. He'll be back, folks. Stay tuned.
Imagine Sam Alvey versus Andrew Tate.
We got to dive into that.
That'd be
That's
wild.
hilarious. The fact that you just called Luke Rockhold the Jake Paul of MMA just makes my heart sing because he's a paper chaser. Let's face it. That's what Luke Rockhold is. And Sam's right. That's the thing I love about Sam Alvey. He might be the most honest dude on planet Earth. And here he comes back onto the stage. We got him back.
Perfect. Sorry about that. My alarm went off, reminding me I had an interview with you guys, and it kicked me off or shut the sound off.
That's okay. We still love you. We can forgive Mulligan. Never happened. You never left.
Never happened.
We were just giggling because we said, it's so funny that you just compared Luke Rockhold to Jake Paul because it literally is such a great comparison.
Yeah,
you're not wrong.
Their current state, like Rockhold was one of the best it's ever been, but in their current state, and I don't know if I can blame Rockhold. I can blame Jake Paul, but Rockhold, he had a good career. He wants to fight chumps, so let him fight chumps.
Yeah. What do you? I got a question for you because with Karate Combat and all that other kind of stuff. What do you think of what Mike Perry's doing with the dirty boxing thing? Does that intrigue you at all?
Yeah, meh. Maybe I got to figure out the rules. It looks like it is just Karate Combat without kicks, right?
That's what I thought with heavier gloves.
Are the gloves heavier? I thought
I
they
think they're.
look.
Are you? What are you using right now? Are you using 8 ounce or are you using 4?
No, no, I'm using 4 ounce.
4 ounce?
Yeah.
I think they're 5. I think it's a 5 ounce modified boxing glove.
I'm in favor of all combat sport competition. Anything out there that can make somebody money, I'm in favor of it.
And have you ever had any brush ups with Mike Perry at all? Like, what kind of? It just seems like it was the weirdest event, and I was like, maybe Sam could go over there too and bring that star power.
Yeah, man, I'm pretty happy with Karate Combat. But no, Mike Perry and I were buddies now. We didn't start off as buddies, but we're buddies now.
Yeah, Mike Perry seems like a guy who you might have to get to know for a couple of days to be friends with. But no, that's awesome, man. I know you got lots going on the plate. Again, we're super excited and how amazing things have really turned out for you, dude. We were talking about it beforehand. Just like, I know it was so hard to have that losing streak, but here you are, 3-0 since the podcast. Again, selfless promotion, and you've done absolutely incredible things. What's the next fight? Do we have any updates on that?
No, I'm pushing for it, but what I really just started and it launched last Friday is like there's something called School, SKOOL. I just launched a free school site where we launched last Friday. We've climbed from number 1,000. We're number 15 in the entire school system where I am teaching MMA. It is free. The link is in my bio on Instagram. So if you I've got @Smilin Sam there. If you go to @Smilin Sam on Instagram, click in the bio. School is there. Free signups. I'm coaching people all over the world now with it. We've been open for a week and it has been a huge success.
What are your numbers? Because I saw that they moved up crazily.
Yeah, no, we are right now, as of today, we are number 15, and less than a week ago, we were like number 2,000 or something. But yeah, we have over 300 members. They're all very active. Me and my class, we're taking it real seriously. We're getting better together.
And you're doing a lot of, it's more one-on-one too, right? Like that's a personal touch that you have.
Oh yeah, 100%. I make lesson plans and I post lesson plans and I show them the little technique for the day, for the week, for the month. And I say they all have homework. Your homework is I want to see you shadow boxing and I want you calling the numbers. I want to see your hook. I want to see your cross. I want to see your this, that. And then they post the videos that I can watch the videos. I can watch what they're doing. Then I can comment directly to their videos. I can make a video in response. It has been really cool what I can do on this site.
That's unbelievable. If you guys can check out Smilin Sam Alvey on, of course, Instagram. You name it, you're really active on there. Like you said, he brings a lot of social media presence on there, and school is actually really cool. And I've been watching some clips that you've been providing on your socials. A lot of cool stuff, like the open technique with the feet and stuff. Like it's just such. If you're a fighter and you want to gain some expert advice, I mean, the guy is the karate combat champion of the world. Like let's give our props. We got to give our props here. You can learn from the best here.
So yeah, two things I really want to do with this sport. When I first started fighting, I made it up as I went. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have anyone I looked up to. I just made it up. And it could have benefited me so much to have that guy, to have that person I could just ask questions to, that I could show what I'm doing, and they could say, hey, you're doing it well, but stuff like that would have made such a big difference. Maybe I could have been the next, Anderson Silva had I had that. That's what I'm trying to give back. And then for the guy who may or may not want to fight someday, I want them to understand the sport more so they can enjoy the sport more. And between those two things, I've got a very personal community I'm growing there, and I'm really loving it.
Sam, you are absolutely the best, man. We absolutely love you having you come on here. We're gonna have to touch base again maybe later on in the seasons, and we'll chat a bit more. But yeah, I know you got stuff to do. I don't want to hold you from it. Band is always fun. Currently, we have a band of dogs. I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but there's a band of dogs singing away the blues here. But no, we want to say thank you again, man, and we always appreciate you coming on. We're going to definitely have you on again. And this guy over here, I think you guys would run an unbelievable academy one day. So maybe we should set some kind of coaching thing up. And we'll come out to you guys' gym.
It's something I'm going to be doing on my school site. Is every month, maybe even every week, I'm going to have a new professional, new intelligent combat instructor on there, just interviewing with them, chatting with them, picking their brains live with my class. So both you guys check out my school site, log on. It's free, like I said, and we can maybe set that up.
Sam, we will. We absolutely love you, man. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your night to join us.
Oh, you're very welcome. Have a great night, guys.
Thank you, Sam.
All right.
Cheers, my friend.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Smilin Sam Alvey. I love that man. He, we talk about it, and I hate bringing it up because no one wants to be reminded that they lost 8 fights in a row. It's the worst. It's truly the worst. he was fighting, and these aren't people like these aren't scrubs that he was fighting either. The Brendan Allens of the world's like top 10 guys every single time. It's just a tough go. Like, I mean, when you're a fighter and you go through a losing streak, it's a losing streak. And now look at him. He's completely pulled himself out of that mentality. And just listening to him talk, he seems more positive. He seems happier. And not that he's never been a happy guy. He just seems like he's in a really good place.
I mean, even last time we chatted with him, he seemed like he was in a really good place.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I feel like it's different for everybody, and I think he has a really good attitude towards fighting and the sport.
Yeah.
You know, and plus he has a family. He has 6 kids.
Yeah.
So
I forget about when he says,
He-
like, I have 6 kids. I'm like, I forgot
I mean,
about that.
the importance level of fighting is probably not even anywhere close to coaching, to raising his kids.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's. I think he has a lot of other things that are holding his head high. you
Yeah,
know?
he's a very positive person. I think that's the best. I love guests like him.
Yeah.
Like just a guy who's been through it, comes back out on top. Now he's a champion in another organization. And it's not to say that he wasn't a champion in UFC, because the fact that he got to fight as many times as he did in UFC, that's a championship. That's a champion's mentality.
Yeah.
Like,
and he's a fan favorite.
yeah, people
everybody
love him.
love
No
it.
matter if he was
He's
losing,
fighting.
people were cheering for him. It was
He's
crazy.
fighting. You're in a fight with Sam Alvey every single time.
Like that
and he's
last-
smiling at you.
The
while-
last
while
fight
you're
that he had,
fighting him.
yeah, like the last fight he had against Brendan Allen, like he was just genuinely smiling, even though he knew he was like, fuck, I'm losing. But he just had this smile on his face the whole time, and that's something that you can't take away from a really good fighter. But yeah, he's such a cool guy, and just hearing him talk about wanting, and like we said at the start of the podcast, what we want to do is showcase our fighters, and he's wanting to do the exact same thing with his platform. So I think it'd be so cool to just like fly out there one day and just go out there, and you run your thing,
Just go hang out.
and I'll just watch. I'll be really good at watching. I'll be an absolute pro at watching.
You can teach
I will teach podcasting.
the mean streets of Coppell.
Coppell, Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
You won't even want to be out there after 9 p.m. These streets, son, they'll eat you up. But nonetheless, he's a great way to kick off season 6. He's such a good guy. And if you guys can, go check out his stuff on School. It is really impressive. His socials, if you're an up-and-coming fighter, if you're a fighter right now, if you're training to, like you said, if you want to become a fighter, go on to Sam Alvey's Instagram right now. Follow him at Smilin Sam, and dive into his videos. They're actually really informative. Like you see it every now and again with guys talking about how they approached fights and stuff like that. But he like breaks down every aspect of a fight, and it's so cool. Like I said, the open foot stancing today. Like I watched a quick 2-minute video on it. And I'm like, I never would have thought about that, but now I'm thinking about it. Thanks, Sam. Like join up for it too, because like he said, he'll do a lot of one-on-ones, which is super cool. I think it's knowing that you can get professional advice from someone who's been there and done that. Also super cool. It's no different than what you get from when you go to a Sandman boxing system. You get that one-on-one, which is absolutely awesome. Clark popping into the show saying, Andrew, congrats on becoming a dad. You are looking great, bro. Hey, man, I can now accept the dad bod. It's amazing. It's something I've always wanted to be able to say.
Something he's been working on for years.
In 2020, it was a lot worse. But yeah, no, thank you, man. We were talking about it the other day. It's just like, it's so funny. Like I'm buying shoes. I'm literally buying shoes. And my girlfriend goes, I send her a Snapchat. She's at work and I go, I'm going to buy these. And they're the white New Balances. And I said, I'm getting cargo shorts, like the jean shorts. And she goes, you fucking better not. And I was like, it's a rite of passage. Like that's the next step to being a dad.
Yeah, I do the shorts and hoodie. That's my combo.
That's the dad look.
I got my winter shorts. I got my summer shorts. I got my gym shorts. Throw on a hoodie.
But if you've
And
known,
slip-on shoes for quick access. No Velcro. No shoelaces. Slip-ons. Just in case you got to be quick.
the dad slide 5,000s.
Heck yeah.
And then he follows it up with, hey, now you just need a good lawnmower. You're right. I do have a lot of yard work upcoming with the new place, so Not a bad idea there, Clark. But I don't want to get him stained, so I'm gonna have to spray some leather protector or something on those white bad boys. Green in this province against white shoes doesn't sound like a good time. But no, again, if you guys get the chance later on, again, go see Sam. Even if you want to reach out to him, he's maybe the easiest human being I've ever contacted when it comes to the fight game. It's hard, guys. Like booking fighters, especially those with names, is so hard. Like I've tried. You can name the fighter, and I've probably tried to get him on the pod in the last 6 years. You got to go through managers. You've got to go through, different like organizations, or if it's like somebody owns their rights exclusively to do podcasts. I'm not kidding you. They have podcast managers. Like it's so hard to loop from. So the fact that this man who, again, former UFC fighter, current karate combat champion, pretty much the face of karate combat. And I'm not disagreeing with that. I think that's a pretty accurate statement, even though they have him ranked 8th in their pound for pound week, in my opinion. But he is the face, and he's doing a lot for him, which is awesome to see. So, again, shout out Sam, man. Cool dude. Absolutely unbelievable interview, too. And we hope you guys enjoyed that one. We're going to break down a couple of things that we heard in the news, and then we're going to call it a night. We're usually trying to keep these things under an hour, so let's do that. One of the biggest things that was making headlines today, especially, a 30-year-old boxer saying, you know what, I might be done, and he's one of the best in the world right now. Tank Davis saying, hey, I saw the interview. I don't know if you saw it. Basically just shooting the breeze with on the street, it looks like, with a beat reporter, and he's just basically saying, like, I don't have that drive anymore. I don't have that fire. You know, I don't have that spark anymore. You know, and I'm 30. I got 2 kids. You know, I'm happy. I want to be in their lives. What do you take away from that? Because like Tank Davis is in the prime of his career.
I mean, makes sense to me.
Yeah,
He's rich. He's fine. Might as well go out rich and fine. Well, you know, like CTE is real.
And I think that's a realization with him. So I think the Ryan Garcia thing opened him up. I really do. I think that opened up a lot of fighters because, and it's weird because Ryan Garcia just gave one of the best interviews I've seen him ever do, and I think it's because he's sober first and foremost, and he looks like he's been working his mental demons out, which we all know Ryan Garcia has. But Tank, I think, is realizing that all these guys in his division, he's beaten, he's done it, he's made his, like you said, he made his millions and millions of dollars. He'll have probably 2 more fights by the time 2025 is over, and that'll be it for his career. But, I mean, Tank Davis' legacy in the last 10 years, unbelievable.
Yeah, it's good. And, I mean, not everybody fights to be the greatest boxer of all time.
Right.
So some people, it's just a job to them. For some people, when they make enough money, it doesn't make sense to fight anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then other people fight to be the best ever.
So true.
So I feel like all of those things are good, and all of them are fine. If people want to retire early,
let them retire early. No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that statement. One of the biggest things that I took away from that retirement speech, the way he was talking about his family, I love that. I really did. Because he said, like, I got a beautiful, partner, my 2 kids, things are good, I'm going to go out on top. Good for him. I mean, hey, like, if you had the chance to be really good or top 10 in your sport ever, and you're like, you know what, I'm 30, I don't have to take any more beatings.
And for him, he's around 50, 60-year-old boxers all the time.
Oh,
who can't put sentences together. That's pretty, like, okay, maybe I don't want to do this.
Well, and we haven't talked about it. We'll dive into it. We're obviously going to talk about what was, for a couple seconds because I don't want to dive into it, but the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight. And then I go back to what you just said with, Father Time and all that other kind of stuff too, right? We didn't see the killer that I think a lot of people expected, but it's also really hard to think you're going to live in the past there. Like, I love Mike Tyson more than, and you're in the same boat. Mike is a legend. I think 90% of the world would say he's the best to ever do it. We're just not. I think it was pretty falsified for people to think he was going to be that guy who was 30 years old knocking, the Evander Holyfields, the Roy Jones Jr.'s of the world out. That's not who he is anymore. I'm happy for him. I'm really happy for him. And you know why? Because he got paid a fuck ton. And for a guy who has hit rock bottom and lost everything and just made, what was it, 20 million? I think 25 million after all is said and done. Yeah. Good for him. Like, you don't have to, and I know a lot of people are pissed off about this. It's not a PR move on Mike's part. He's just happy that he got the fight again, and he got $25 million to do it for a guy who had nothing in the 90s. Like, he lost everything in the early 2000s, right? Like, everything. Every dollar he ever owned. He never had anything. And this guy was doing cameos on the movies because he was trying to make more money. And now, good for him. Like, what do you take away from that?
What happened?
Yeah, sure. We'll hang one. Right here. Hang a little mistletoe.
What happened in that fight is exactly what I thought was gonna happen.
Same.
And hearing everybody say it was rigged or whatever, it was a 60-year-old man fighting a 27-year-old. That's what that looks like. He ran out of energy really quickly. He had
After the first
nothing.
round.
The lactic acid built up in his legs. That's why he wasn't moving anymore. And people who think he was holding back punches, when somebody's punching back at you,
Yeah.
it's nothing is open.
That's
Nothing is really open. And when the person is faster and stronger than you, things get scary.
Big time.
That's exactly what I thought it was gonna look like. Anyone can put together a 15-second collage of hitting pads
And make it look good.
Let's watch a 3-minute round of him hitting pads.
Yeah,
and see how that goes.
I was so hyped about the training videos, and I fell on the bandwagon right at the start. I was like, ooh, I'm getting teased, aren't I? Like, I'm feeling like 90s Mike Tyson, the killer's back. And that's after watching a 30-second video. And then, of course, the lead up to Netflix doing the UFC embedded, if you will, where they were behind the scenes, and he goes, he never faced a natural born killer, and I was like, oh shit, like Mike might be back. No, it's exactly what I expected to.
There's one thing where Mike won it all, anyways, is before they fought, when they asked him if the roles were reversed and you were 27, what would this fight look like? And he said, if I was 27, I would not be fighting a 60-year-old man. And he won the whole thing right there.
Yeah, that was
$20 million.
That was worth it. That was my $20 million line right there. And then, after it, you've got, and I love Ariel. Again, a Canadian, we love him. I would love to have Ariel on here one day. But he goes in the ring and he straight up just asks, Mike, what's next? I mean, Mike's riding into the sunset. And then he goes, I don't know, maybe his brother can get it. and Logan looks over and goes, Mike, I'll fucking kill you. And I was like, yeah, that's not going to be a fight you want to see. Listen, Logan Paul's not the boxer his brother is at all, but yeah, Mike would probably get rinsed in that fight too. That's just the reality. Father Time catches up to everybody. That's why in the NHL, that's why you don't see your favorite NFL wide receiver play past the time he's 35 or 36 years old. Just everybody's got a shelf life when it comes to sports, and like I'm happy for Mike Tyson to do what he did, because now he's going to be able to live the life that he's always wanted. His bank account's full. And like you said, I just want my family to be healthy and happy, and my kids have never seen me fight the way I am now. And I really like that comment, too, because they've always just known their dad was a badass and lived in the past. But you got to see him. Like, in that first round, I was like, there he is, And like you said, 3 minutes is a big difference in comparison to 30 seconds. And he looked good. He looked really good in that first round. I was like, ooh, there's that power. He stung Jake a couple times. He didn't like that. And then Jake, to his credit, was stronger, crisper, and what a 27-year-old fighter should be.
And politely didn't knock him out on purpose.
I did like that.
Because nobody wants to stand over a 6-year-old man.
And that's what he said. He's like, I don't want to, and I love that quote from Jake Paul. I'm not a huge Jake Paul guy, but he earned a lot of my respect by saying I didn't want to knock him out, because I didn't want to be like you said, be the guy who's standing over a 58-year-old. Like, I loved that he spared him that.
And you can hate Jake Paul, whatever. They made $50 million.
Yeah.
And the two women who co-mained made more money than any female fighters ever.
Let's fucking
talk
about that fight. That fight
huge.
might be that
fight is one of the greatest fights of all time.
Dude, and if you were literally just watching it for the headline fight, you really screwed yourself over.
Go back and watch the
Oh my God, Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano are this is maybe in sports, and it won't be talked about like this, but in sports, maybe the best rivalry ever. Like, I mean, these two hate each other. They legitimately hate each other. I watched that fight and I was just like, holy shit. Like this is the main event. This should have been the main event. And I get why Jake Paul and Mike Tyson the Sideshow was, because it's promoted by MVP Promotions, who are also with Amanda Serrano. So I say that because if you want to talk about things being rigged, Amanda Serrano lost that fight even though she outboxed her, outpunched her by 100 strikes, and got clipped in the eye with an illegal headbutt. You're a boxer. Tell me how pissed off you'd be when you heard your name not be called in that instance.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Because I thought she won without Kitty Taylor losing a point. I thought she won. So with
100%.
with losing a point, there's really no question. And honestly, I thought she won the first time they fought too. So that sucks. and that kind of shows how good she is, because she moved up 2 weight divisions to fight her.
Yeah.
She's a way smaller girl. Moved up and, in some people's eyes, beat Katie Taylor twice.
Oh man, I think she smoked her in this, especially in the second. The first, you could go either way, and I would understand fully. This second one, she smoked her, like she dusted her, and I understand the headbutt, and this is where I was like, we were watching it live, obviously, and we were with a couple buddies, and I said, there's no shot that Serrano loses this fight. Like even before the fight, I said the same thing. I was very confident in Amanda Serrano. I think her punches are quicker. She's faster than Taylor. She's got more precision. And in boxing, those are all huge elements. And the fact that she outstruck her by 100, when they brought up the stats, I was like, yo, this isn't even close. And then great point, the headbutt. That's -1 point. That's huge in boxing. And she still won. And I'm like, I don't know what Amanda Serrano has to do but go to war for a third time and do it for a third time. Like, I hate saying that because technically Amanda Serrano should be the WBC featherweight champion right now. Like, it's insanity to me that she's going to have to go there for the third time, which, listen, again, greatest rivalry of all time. I'm watching it. There's not a doubt I'm watching it. But then usually when you see these trilogy fights, especially the third ones, it usually goes the opposite way. And I think Katie Taylor will work her. Just after nearly losing but winning, and then very much losing but still somehow winning, it always changes your perspective on who you're fighting, right? Like, we've seen it before, Nate and Connor, right? Like, we'd love to have that trilogy fight, but it's never going to happen. Daniel and John Jones, right? Like, just those instances alone, it's like, okay, what can I do better to get there? Like, how would you approach it if you're Amanda Serrano, knowing that you've lost 2 fights that you think you won?
That's the thing too, is it's just hard to say, because what she's doing should be working.
100%.
You know, like, a lot of people think she won, so why change?
Yeah.
What's working? But then it's also on the other hand, like, the judges are obviously don't see what you're doing as working, so you got to figure something out. But I think she said she's not that interested anymore.
Yeah.
In that she just wants to defend her belt. But who knows? You know, like, you get $20 million thrown at you.
In the words
I'll fight anybody.
In the words of Dave Bautista, give me what I want.
Yeah.
Just give me what I want. And us, the fans, we want that. If you don't know that reference, that is a wrestling reference for those that didn't know. Triple H going to try to fight Batista at WrestleMania years ago, and Batista with one of the worst lines of history of professional wrestling. Give me what I want. Terrible shit. And then his fight against Triple H was also terrible. But so there's a couple other things that we're going to get to. Obviously, this weekend, UFC 310 takes place. We're going to quickly dive into that fight card. Not crazy, but there's some really cool and interesting matchups. We got Kron Gracie, who's finally back into the UFC. He's going to be taking on Thug Nasty Bryce Mitchell. I'm gonna roll with Bryce Mitchell on this one. I think he's gone through a lot in the last little while. A couple losses too, where he hasn't looked like himself. He's training back in Alabama again, so give me camoed out Bryce Mitchell over Kron. Only did one thing, Gracie.
Man, I just watched a little clip of Bryce talking about how he doesn't like seatbelts, doesn't wear them. Honestly, I've had this argument with so many people because I feel like I don't like seatbelts either.
Most of the people that are watching this are like, yeah, yeah. If there's any cops here, none of this happened.
Yeah, it's just funny though that he was saying that, because how many times I've had this conversation with my boxers, with my. It's just
Fuck
it was a
seatbelts.
funny. It was a funny clip. Anyways, I'm going for Bryce too.
Yeah.
He's the man.
I like Bryce Mitchell a lot. 2 losses in a row. I think this is where he comes back. Let's not forget, he was a top 10, a top 5 in his division before the losses stemmed up here. So I think he makes his resurgence known. Cron Gracie in his last fight, maybe one of the worst fights I've ever seen. Cron Gracie laid on the ground as a one-trick pony, waiting for somebody to jump into his shell. And it just didn't work out the way he wanted to because no one was going to jump in that shell.
And that was annoying.
That was not a great fight. And then of course we've got a really truly maybe a number 1 contender fight in the heavyweight division. Alexander Volkov is going to be taking on Cyril Gahn. Kind of an underrated fight, to be honest. Alexander Volkov's a beast. His power is scary. But Cyril Gahn has been working with a couple of guys to work on his ground game after being submitted by John Jones. His kickboxing is elite already. If he gets a ground game, and in the heavyweight division, because we're seeing what Tom Aspinall's doing with a ground game, that's fucking scary. Like, Cyril Gahn could be back? Question mark.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just excited for that fight. It's just
It's a
a
good
really,
fight.
It's
It's
just
a
a
good
really
fight.
good fight. I like Volkov, and I've always wanted to see him do more
Yeah.
because he always gets there and then gets a
Peters
loss.
out, yeah.
and then he gets there and then he loses.
Top 5 guy, fucking see you later.
Yeah,
Bottom 10, yeah.
But he's beat everybody.
He has.
And like, it's like his losses are just so. I don't know. There's just something where he can beat anybody on any night, and he's exciting because his kickboxing is so good.
God, it's so
Whereas
good.
Gone, he's kind of like super patient, waits a lot, and to me, not as exciting.
That's what killed him against John Jones. I
Yeah.
think the buildup was there against John Jones because he is that good of a fighter. But I also think he lost himself in that mindset of patiently waiting. You can't wait with John Jones. Like, I think that's why the Aspinall matchup or even the Pereira matchup with John Jones intrigues me so much because they don't wait. They're killers. Like, that's what they do. They'll go in. Pereira may be a little bit more patient than Aspinall, but Owen going, hang the mistletoe, and he follows it up with, I saw that smirk. Listen, I get that smirk every now and again. It's Cole. He's a beautiful man. Anyways, and then in the co-main event, this is really cool. Somebody's O's got to go. All right, we got Ian Gary, who's going to be taking on Shavkat Rakhmonov. This matchup's awesome. I absolutely fucking love this matchup. And again, somebody's O's got to go. Ian Gary, obviously 15-0. Shavkat running in at 18-0. Shavkat, obviously just recently beating Jeff Neal. Took some time off, is back now. And then, of course, Ian Gary, the next up-and-coming superstar, is kind of how they've been promoting him and the way that his, UFC has gone. Not a very liked guy, but a very damn good fighter. You can never count him out. There's been a couple fights that I've watched of his where it looks like he's on Dream Street, comes out and pulls off the win. He's just a fighter's fighter, and I think this is a great matchup. Don't get me wrong. The betting odds are minus 325 and plus 275, and I think they got that right. I think Shavkat walks this division. Like, not even just Gary. I think he walks this division. This man's fucking scary. Like, so good.
Yeah, I like him. I'm rooting for him. I want to see him win. I want to see him win the title. He's exciting. I like him a lot.
He's good for the business, man. Like, he truly is. And doesn't, obviously he's not Ukrainian. What is he? Oh, he's from Kazakhstan. So he doesn't have a ton of like English behind him, but this is the same guy that just went on an interview and said, I love to eat horse meat. Like, all right.
Okay, Overeem.
Yeah,
chill.
fucking take it easy, Alistair. Like, it's okay. But, I mean, it's crazy to think of that somebody goes, in this division's got to go. And it's an incredible matchup. Sean Shelby and the boys, Dana White, they crushed this matchup. This is one of my favorite fights probably this year. I'm hoping it's a great fight. Like, don't get me wrong.
It's gonna be.
I think it's going to be a bloodbath. And the only reason why I say that is because when Shavkat got Jeff Neal was working him. Jeff Neal, I thought, did really well in that first round, opening up Shavkat that we haven't seen before and exposing some of his striking defense. I didn't think it was strong, but then Shavkat was like, bitch, no, this is my fight.
Did he fight somebody after that?
I can't remember if he did.
I thought he did.
He might have. I'll have to look that up, but I just remember going back in my mind and watching that one.
Yeah, that one was.
It was an interesting
surprising.
matchup.
It was surprising. I didn't expect Jeff Neal to do that well.
Jeff Neal did really well,
He did really well.
and it's going to be such an interesting fight in the aspect of like Ian Gary is this guy who doesn't really use the ground game a lot. Shavkat's an elite wrestler. Like you get taken down once, and don't get me wrong, they've had camps long enough where I'm sure that Ian's probably quite prepared for any takedowns that are going to happen. But like, yeah, interesting enough. I'm going to roll with Shavkat. I just think he's the better fighter out of the two. It's not
Yeah,
a
he
shot.
ran through Wonder Boy.
That's who it was.
Yeah.
Wonderboy got embarrassed. That was a bad fight. That's why I forgot about it. You sometimes when you do these things for as long as we have been, you just forget about horrible matchups. Wonderboy versus Shavkat was a horrible matchup. Did not do anything for me. And then in our main event, of course, we got the flyweight title on the line. Alexander Pantoja taking on Kai Asakura, and this was actually kind of this was hilarious. So Kai today or yesterday, it was the interviews, and as Pantoja's doing his interview, and Kai Asakura and his camp are just peeking at him at the window, and he's like giving him little faces and shit. Mind games before you even step in there. Kai Asakura is a killer. This is a fighter that Alexander Pantoja has never really faced before. Obviously, Brandon Moreno in the flyweight division is going to come up, and I think he's going to be back in that number 1, number 2 seed spot. Who do you got in this one? I'm intrigued in this matchup.
Honestly, I don't know much about that Kai. So
Kai Asakura, yeah.
So I don't really have much of an opinion on this one. I know Pantoja is very, very good. He's very, very good.
Yes. He doesn't get rattled.
He doesn't get rattled, and man, the list of top contenders he's beat is everyone.
I just said Brandon Moreno, and that was one of the biggest names in that division.
Yeah.
And Devson Fierro.
Yeah,
so
he's beat. I'll pull up because he's beat. I seen a list of the top 10, and there's only 3 guys in the top 10 he hasn't beat. He's beat everybody that's in the top 10, which is insane. So that Kai better be really good, or else he's gonna have a rough night.
No doubt. And so I'm just going through some of the names here that are on the UFC 310 prelims. Now we've got just the early prelims are even freaking stacked. Clay Guida takes on Chase Hooper. Michael Chiesa takes on one of our friends and guest of the podcast, Max Griffin. And then you got Chris Weidman and Eric Anders that are going to be on the early prelims.
That's wicked.
It just goes back to the eye rake. And this fight was actually supposed to happen at 309, but Anders missed weight or something, illness or something. Yeah. And Chris Weidman was pretty distraught. I get it. He was going to play it at Madison Square Garden, his home, where he.
Yeah, and they didn't even pay him.
No, he was pissed. He made a very valid point. He's like, I made weight, I'm ready to go, and you don't pay me. And like I watched his Instagram live, and it was like the most humble way of saying "fuck you" that I've ever seen. Chris Weidman's just a constant professional. I mean, you think about the shit that this guy's gone through, 30 surgeries on that leg, like that's to me insane. Comes back, beats Anders via, people will say the eye poke probably fucked the fight up a little bit, which true, it did. But seeing Weidman come back is true warrior mentality. It's warrior strength. And to see him come back after all the stuff that he's been through, I'm really excited to see that fight. Also on the preliminary card that kicks off after that, we got Brian Battle against Randy Brown. Brian Battle's awesome. I love Brian Battle. Obviously, you guys all know him from The Ultimate Fighter. Super good fighter. Aljamain Sterling on the early prelims, pissed off about it.
He's not happy.
Love that.
Me too.
I love that.
Good.
Yeah. Aljamain, here's the thing. Aljamain's lost his last 2 fights in embarrassing fashion. So, I mean, he got knocked out by Sugar, like, badly. And so, to say that you're a mainstream card or a main draw now, no one liked you as a champion. I feel bad for saying that, but, like, Dana's all about the ratings. Dude, if you can't bring asses into the seats, he don't give a shit about you. But it's a good matchup because Movar Ovalov that he's fighting is a killer, too. So, this is a really, really good fight. And then, of course, we were supposed to have Nick Diaz versus Vicente Luque. That's now changed. Themba Garambo is going to take on Vicente Luque now. If you are not familiar with Garambo at all, he was the fighter that The Rock helped out. He showed The Rock that he had $7 in his bank account for paying all his trainers before his first UFC fight, and The Rock bought him a house. So that's pretty fucking cool.
That's wild.
Yeah, and now he's the co-main of the prelims, which is pretty good. So he'll make $20,000 to $30,000 on this contract, which is good for him. And again, it's just one of those fights that we were really excited about because we wanted to see Vicente Luque and Nick Diaz. Like Father Time. We talk about Father Time. It's
I would much rather see Nick Diaz versus Tony Ferguson.
yeah, I think
I
that's
do not want to see Nick Diaz get his ass kicked.
fact because Vicente Luque would wipe him.
Well,
Like I don't think it was going to be close.
I don't think he's like in the street
Yeah, lighting trees on fire.
lighting trees on fire.
Yeah, he's got some shit going on. And again, I'm a very big advocate on mental health. You can clearly see that he's on drugs or struggling, and I feel bad because this is a guy that we held to such a prestige as fight fans, and to see him struggle the way he has, clearly they pulled him from the card because they know something's up. Like Dana just doesn't pull guys of the caliber of Nick Diaz for no reason. Like Nick brings asses into the seats. That's what the Diaz brothers do. That's why they're still on the roster. Well, Nick, anyways, for now. I'm sure a cut is probably imminent. I hope he gets the help that he needs. I hope he truly goes to, it looks like rehab's probably the thing he needs the most. Like, I don't know, just the way he was acting, how skinny he was, and shit like that. Like, it just looked like he was, I don't want to say meth. Like, that might be the wrong thing to say, but I don't think I'm too far off from that. Which really hurts my heart because, again, it's a guy that you and I both idolized growing up.
Yeah, or it could just be back to that CTE. Like it's just hard to know. I don't know. It gives seeing that, and then you hear about Gervonta Davis wanting to retire.
It checks out. Like
Checks
we go
out.
back to again being in your prime of your career and walking away when you have to walk away. The Diaz brothers made millions of dollars. They still run their own academies. Like they're very well off. I mean, let's think about the trilogy fight, or even just boxing with Nate. Nate just made 10.5 million against Jake. It was like 10.5 million. It's a pretty good payday for a guy who's never boxed before. So like they've made their money, and like if need be, Nate's always been big brother or little brother to Nick, and Nate's always held Nick to such a prestige honor. So I really hope that Nate can help him out too, and that they can run their academies in Sacramento and do their thing, man. Sacktown, right? Like I just want them to do so well, or Stockton. I want to see them keep doing. Like you watch some of the Diaz training videos, and he's fucking awesome. Like it's so fun to watch. And then we got Dominic Reyes, who's going to be taking on Anthony Smith. This is a really cool matchup. Although I think Dominic Reyes gets back in the win column, Anthony Smith has this weird thing about being in weird spots and pulling out wins. But he also said something this week that I wasn't really cool with. He said, "I don't care about wins anymore." Then what the fuck you doing? Like, if you don't, like, I mean, I get it. Anthony Smith has been in the UFC for 20-some fights now.
What did he say after that? Why doesn't he care about wins anymore? What does he care about?
He said, for me, it's about making sure my family's okay. So, I mean, I think it may be more financial for him. I don't know what he gets paid as an analyst. He's good. I like him as an analyst. I have no problems with him as an analyst at all. I think he should be there for life now, but I don't know. It has to be a payday, because if you're a fighter walking in, like if I was Dominic Reyes, I'm like, hold on, wait a minute, you don't care about wins? The fuck are we doing here? Like this is literally about wins, going up in the division and trying to win a championship. Dominic Reyes, and John Jones is the first person to ever admit this, and I haven't heard it from John Jones until now. He said Dominic Reyes beat me. He's like, that's the only fight I've ever had where I thought I lost. And he said, until my hand got raised, I thought I was done. So that tells you the competitor Dominic Reyes has. Has Dominic Reyes been on a losing streak? Yeah, it's not good. He got viciously knocked out by Yuri Prochazka. That might be one of the rankest knockouts of all time. Like, Dom looked like he died. And it just looks like, and the next fight he had, I can't remember who he faced, same thing. It just looks like he's a shell of himself since John Jones. He was so prepared, over-prepared, you might say, for John Jones that he forgot how to fight everybody else. So very interesting matchup in the prelims there. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for our first one, I think. That's a good way to end it. I hope you guys enjoyed the fights this weekend. I hope you guys enjoyed the interview with Sam Alvey. Cole, what do you got? What do you got going into the weekend, buddy?
I mean, I'm like, it seems like I'm in a different city every weekend. So I got a lot going on all the time. And you know, we got an event in Leader, Saskatchewan coming up.
Follow your leader.
Honestly, I don't know. There can't even be 1,000 people there, maybe. So it's a cool little small town. They put on an event every year.
Cool.
We got an event back in Edmonton on the 21st. So we're traveling. We're moving. We're hoping to get Nash on a card out in Philadelphia in January.
Damn, okay.
So
he's healthy. He's ready to go.
Yeah, he's healthy. It's nice because seeing a lot of those guys after their BKFC fights.
Golly. 6 months, man.
Yeah. So for Nash to have 2 fights and 0 damage is nice. It's nice. So yeah, I've just been traveling lots, coaching, kind of hopping around everywhere, and just at the gym. Come check it out, Sandman Boxing, out of Alliance Training Center. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because that last matchup for Nash, no one expected Nash to win that fight. I think the few of us that know him knew that he was a dog and he was going to bring it. He dominated.
I 100% expected him to win that fight. So speak for yourself, Andrew.
You have to say that. You're a coach. But nonetheless, no, great fight by Nash. The game plan was obviously very well prepared, and he's mentally strong as he is physically. So it was good to see that win for you guys. BKFC, we're hoping to do a lot more with them too. I know at the start I was very about BKFC because I was just like, who wants to get punched in the fucking head this many times and it just be okay? But now I'm like, this is awesome.
And like I would never do it, but I mean everyone doing it is an adult.
Yeah, fact.
So
yeah, do what you want to do. You want to punch in the head? Get punched in the head, man. But hey, guys got to make paychecks too, right? So
if you want to wear a seatbelt,
if you want to wear a seatbelt, we go back to the seatbelt. If you want to wear a seatbelt, wear the fucking seatbelt. Anyways, that's going to do it for us. But again, we want to thank our sponsors because I forgot to do so at the start of this. I want to thank, of course, Sandman Boxing System. We talked about them today. They have been here since literally day 1. We're on year 6, so pretty impressive. I want to give a shout out to Mark Wardo. He's the guy who did our intro video. He's been doing our intro videos for the last 4 years. Kills it every time. Like, absolutely nails it every single time. The voice you heard was Don Andrews, the voice of Unified MMA. We love him very much. Hopefully, he can get out to a Unified card soon. I got to meet Sonny and the crew. They seem like such a good group of guys, and very respectable. I don't know if anybody, and I hate to end on this, but there was obviously a very sudden passing in the MMA world in Edmonton, and it impacted a lot of people. And I got to the point where I absolutely love this move. Sonny and them had actually pulled the cards for the rest of the year, which was really, really cool, giving his fighters a chance to breathe and digress and find out, some help and all that other kind of stuff. So, Sonny, that was a really cool move, and I think your fighters beyond appreciate you running that organization. And then, of course, we got to thank Rest When Dead Clothing, restwhendead.ca. They're back again this year. You got to meet Aaron finally at the UFC 300 event. He's such a cool cat, man. We love Aaron a lot. He's always been good to us. Make sure to check them out in Moose Jaw on High Street. Also check them out online, ceofit.ca. Supplements, T-shirts are on there. The best prices in Saskatchewan. You will not find anybody else cheaper. I'm telling you from experience, you will not find anybody cheaper. So definitely go check out Aaron and the crew, ceofit.ca. And, of course, FKN Ale. We love you met Kirk. Kirk is crazy. We love Kirk very much. Kirk's watching. We love you, buddy. They're doing some crazy stuff right now. They're brewing something up. So I can't wait to get into that in a little bit in the future here when that's finally all ready to go. But our ales at any Sobeys in Saskatoon. They are delicious. I love them. You can also get them. They did a taste sample. I want to say 8th Street somewhere. I can't remember. Metro Liquor. You can get them at Metro Liquor too. But thank you guys for making this happen, and thank you the fans for tuning in. It feels so good to be back after literally 5.5 months of not being able to do this. We're gonna probably aim for 2 per month, just to recap everything, if not more. And then, of course, like I said, if you're a fighter, if you're a coach, if you're somebody that just generally wants to be showcased, we want to showcase you guys. Let us know. If you want to do a pre-recorded interview beforehand or, whatever, and we air your interview, hell, we'll do that too. We would love the opportunity to have you guys on here. That being said, reach out, DM us. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram. Although our Instagram account is being really weird right now, and I have no idea what's going on with it. Ask me to change the password every day. I've done it like 15 times. I'm over it. I might just create a new account, to be honest. Yeah, so
if our Instagram asks for your credit card information, just do it.
Send it to the following email, the.boom.town. Just kidding. No, we want to, again, support anybody this year and have fighters be a mainstay. That's what the show's all about. And now that we have a home here, and also want to thank Sandstar Graphics, our official new home. It feels good. We're going to work on the lighting. so that I don't look like a ghost. I'm naturally white as we speak, and I look sour cream white right now. So we'll get that all figured out. I look like a thing of yogurt, a Greek yogurt with a black shirt and lid. Anyways, that's gonna do it with us. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you again to Sam Alvey for joining us on behalf of myself and Cole. We hope you guys have a fantastic evening, and yeah, we'll see you on a couple weeks.